Welcome back to my channel Starwire Daily. Please share and subscribe and press the bell icon for new updates. In the shadows of grief, behind closed doors where cameras couldn't reach, Kelly Osbourne has been living through every daughter's worst nightmare. The world said goodbye to the Prince of Darkness just 2 weeks ago, but for Kelly, the silence has been deafening. Until now. What you're about to hear will break your heart and rebuild it again. Because when the daughter of rock royalty finally speaks, her words carry the weight of a legacy, the pain of loss, and the fierce love that only a family forged. In the Fires of Fame can understand this as Starwire Daily, and today we're diving deep into the most emotional story Hollywood has witnessed this year. Kelly Osbourne's first words since laying her father to rest aren't what anyone expected. They're raw, they're real, and they reveal a side of the Osbourne family that will leave you speechless. It's been exactly 13 days since the world lost Ozzy Osbourne. 13 days since the man who defined heavy metal, who survived decades of chaos, who battled Parkinson's disease with the same ferocity he brought to the stage, finally found peace at 76 years old. The tributes have poured in from every corner of the music world. Black Sabbath, Metallic fans camping outside his Birmingham home. But through it all, one voice has remained notably, heartbreakingly silent. Kelly Osbourne. The daughter who grew up in the spotlight, who shared her family's most intimate moments with the world through MTV's The Osbournes, who stood by her father through every scandal, every health scare, every moment of triumph and despair. The woman who inherited not just Ozzy's rebellious spirit, but his unexpected vulnerability. And then, yesterday evening, as the sun set over the Los Angeles hills, where the Osbourne family has called home for decades, Kelly finally broke that silence. Not through a carefully crafted press release, not through her publicist, but in the most Kelly way possible. Raw, unfiltered, and absolutely heartbreaking. She chose Instagram Live. No makeup. Hair pulled back. Sitting in what appears to be her childhood bedroom, surrounded by photos of happier times. And for 23 minutes, she opened her heart to the world in a way that reminded us why the Osbournes became America's most beloved dysfunctional family. I keep waiting for him to call me, she began, her voice barely above a whisper. You know how Dad was? He'd call at the most random times. 3 in the morning because he forgot about time zones. Or right in the middle of a meeting because he heard a song that reminded him of me. I keep my phone on loud, just in case. The weight of those words. The simple, devastating reality that the phone calls have stopped forever. But Kelly wasn't finished. What she revealed next about Ozzy's final weeks, about the family's private moments, about the man behind the legend, painted a picture so intimate and beautiful that even the strongest hearts couldn't help but break. She talked about how Ozzy, even in his weakest moments, battling the progression of his Parkinson's, remained fiercely protective of his family's privacy. How he made her promise not to share certain details about his condition because he didn't want pity. He'd rather have people remember him biting the head off a bat than feeling sorry for him shaking. Kelly said with a sad laugh that perfectly captured the Osbourne spirit. But here's what got everyone talking. What's been trending across every social media platform since her broadcast ended? Kelly revealed that Ozzy had been working on something special in his final months. Something none of us saw coming. A letter. Not just any letter, but a personal message to each member of his family, to be opened only after his passing. Kelly's hands trembled as she held up an envelope with her name written in Ozzy's distinctive scrawl. She didn't read it aloud. Some things remain sacred, even in our oversharing world, but her reaction was everything. He knew, she whispered, tears streaming down her face. He knew what each of us needed to hear. Even from the other side, he's still taking care of us. That's who my dad really was. Not the wild man of rock. Not the reality TV star. He was a father who loved his children so completely that he found a way to keep loving us even after he was gone. The funeral itself, Kelly revealed, was exactly what Ozzy would have wanted. Intimate, family only. Sharon, of course, barely holding herself together, but still somehow the rock everyone leaned on. Jack, trying to be strong for his kids who are too young to understand why Grandpa Ozzy isn't coming to dinner anymore. Amy, the most private of the Osbourne children, flying in from New York and staying close to her siblings for the first time in years. And the music. God, the music. Kelly described how they played Crazy Train as they carried his coffin, because Ozzy once joked that he wanted people dancing at his funeral, not crying. "We did both," Kelly admitted. "We danced and we cried and we celebrated him exactly the way he would have wanted." But perhaps the most revealing moment came when Kelly addressed the elephant in the room that fans have been whispering about for years. The complicated relationship between father and daughter, marked by public feuds, reconciliations, and the unique challenges of growing up Osbourne. "People think they know our story because they watched us on TV," Kelly said, her voice growing stronger. "They saw the arguments, the chaos, the dysfunction. But they didn't see him teaching me to be strong. They didn't see him staying up all night when I was struggling with addiction. Not judging, just loving. They didn't see him crying when I got sober, telling me he was proud. That's the dad I'm mourning. That's the man the world lost." And then came the bombshell that no one saw coming. Kelly announced that she's pregnant. 5 months along, she revealed, showing a barely visible bump beneath her oversized sweater. The timing, she admits, is bittersweet beyond words. "Dad knew," she said, placing her hand protectively over her stomach. "I told him 3 weeks before he passed. And you know what he said? He said, finally, someone who might be crazier than me." The smile that crossed her face in that couldn't tour anymore. He never stopped creating. But perhaps the most touching revelation was Kelly's decision to name her child after her father. If it's a boy, she honors Ozzy's given name, John Michael Osbourne. If it's a girl, she's considering Ozara, a feminine version of Ozzy that her father apparently suggested during one of their last conversations. He said, "If you're going to carry on the Osbourne crazy, you might as well carry on the name too." Kelly remembered, laughing through fresh tears. "That's so, Dad." Making jokes about his own legacy while making sure it continues. The weight of that responsibility, carrying on the Osbourne name. Raising a child who will never know their legendary grandfather. Keeping Ozzy's memory alive for future generations, it's enormous. But if anyone can handle it, it's Kelly. She's been preparing for this moment her entire life, even if she never realized it. As her Instagram live session came to an end, Kelly made one final promise that left not a dry eye among her viewers. She pledged to document her pregnancy journey, to share the experience of becoming a mother while mourning her father, to let the world witness how life continues even in the face of unimaginable loss. "Dad always said the show must go on," she concluded. Well, this is me going on. For him, for my baby, for everyone who's ever lost someone they couldn't imagine living without. We keep going. We keep loving. We keep being beautifully, messily human. And with that, Kelly Osbourne ended her silence and began a new chapter. One that honors the past while embracing an uncertain but hopeful future. The daughter of the Prince of Darkness, stepping into the light of motherhood. Carrying her father's legacy forward in the most profound way possible. The Osbourne family has always been about more than just the music. It's more than just the chaos, more than just the fame. They've been about love surviving everything life throws at it. Ozzy's death marks the end of an era, but Kelly's courage in sharing her grief, her joy, her hopes and fears, proves that some legacies are truly eternal. In a world that often feels disconnected, the Osbournes remind us that family is everything, that vulnerability is strength, and that sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is simply tell the truth about what it feels like to be human. Kelly Osbourne broke her silence. And in doing so, she reminded us all why her family captured our hearts in the first place. They're not just rock royalty. They're real people, dealing with real loss, finding real hope in the midst of unimaginable pain. What did you think of Kelly's emotional revelation? Have you ever experienced the kind of loss that seems impossible to survive? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Let's create a space where we can support each other through life's toughest moments, just like the Osbourne family has always done for us. And if Kelly's story touched your heart the way it touched ours, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to StarWire Daily for more intimate celebrity stories that go beyond the headlines. We're here to remind you that behind every famous face is a human heart, dealing with the same joys and sorrows we all face. Until next time, keep loving fiercely, keep grieving honestly, and remember, the show must go on, but it's okay to cry. During the performance, this has been StarWire Daily, and we'll see you in the next story.